Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports? We hope that you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Boy, do we got a lot to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. LSU basketball played today, got beat by Florida. The Will Wade SEC kryptonite, the Florida Gators. Also, LSU football coaching searches are still underway. Is there some rumors and some sourcing going around that Ed Orgeron has his two guys? Maybe, maybe not, but we will talk about that for sure. Ryan says, evening, best show out there. Ryan, I appreciate that. Lee says, good evening, Blake. What's going on, Lee? Lee? Hope everything's going well. Lee Drake, we got the Lees up in here today, y'all. We got more Lees on this show than anybody else. Lee says, what's up, Blake? Also, Happy New Year, Tiger fans, says Brian. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Before we get started, do us a favor by hitting the like and share on Facebook. Don't forget to share into some groups as well. Hit that retweet if you're on Twitter Periscope. We greatly, greatly appreciate that. And we will be running it this week, but I'll let you guys know today. If everyone who goes and subscribes to our YouTube page, Are You Serious Sports, we will be doing a drawing at the end of the month. So if you subscribe, all the new subscribers, that come on, we will be doing a gift card giveaway. But don't forget after the show to go and do that. Gino says, what's up? What's up? Danny says, Happy New Year, y'all. Happy New Year, Danny. He says, thanks for pronouncing my last name correctly. Well, Lee, you live in Louisiana all your life. It's definitely you're not the first one that I've seen and been able to pronounce that last name. That's for sure. Okay, but before we get started, as always, guys, we got to pay some bills around here, and you know better, and no better sponsor for AYS than our good friends over at GM Varnado & Sons. GM Varnado & Sons has faithfully been serving your Denham Springs and Baton Rouge area for over 62 years. With their highly trained technicians, there's absolutely nothing that they can't do. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire sales, tire rotations, tire replacement, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. Give them a call today at 225-664-9992 or go see them over at 2500 Florida Boulevard, Denham Springs, Louisiana. Also, for the number one Ford car salesman in all of the state of Louisiana, go see my good friend, Mr. Woody Clark, over at Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln. All you have to do is go to RobinsonBrothersFord.com. That's RobinsonBrothersFord.com to go see all of their great inventory. Give them a call today at 225-603-5432. That's 225-603-5432. And tell them Blake Ruffino over at AYS sent you by. Okay, I see the comments rolling in. Okay, didn't think it would be this big on that. That's what she said. But didn't think it would be this big on a Saturday. Was going to come on after the post-game show or after the game, but got tied up there for a second. But either way, we're back at it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the basketball game. I will do this. I will put the hashtag Ask Blake in the comment section. If you have a question, as always, hit us with the hashtag Ask Blake, and I will get to all of and I'll try to get to most of your questions, especially with all the coaching searches that are out there. I want to start at basketball right quick, and I'll get to some of the comments from a little bit earlier. 1-1 in conference. Florida shot the lights out of the ball in the second half. Cam Thomas played okay, went 7 of 19 from the floor, 3 of 10 from three. Javonte Smart, kind of wish he would have forced the issue a little bit more, but Darius Days having 2 points was not good. Trendon Wofford had some big turnovers there late, and Florida was really unstoppable at times. Look, their starting lineup went like this. Castleton, 21 points. The other forward had 16 points. Mann had 19 points, and Lewis had 17 points. When your starters are going out there getting you that many points, bam, 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 and you could be diversified and getting the ball to some other guys, you're going to be hard to stop. And the second half, LSU came out flat for maybe the first 10 minutes in that second half, and they really couldn't get their groove going. Really couldn't get their groove going. Was absolutely dominant from three in the first half, and then absolutely went blank in the second half from deep. They did good at the free throw line. Cam Thomas went 11 for 11. Javonte Smart went 4-4, shot 88% from the free throw line. Again, you would have liked to see LSU push that pace and get in the paint a little bit more because they were definitely getting fouled. But this is what beat LSU. They shot the ball 41%. When you shoot the ball at 41% and your opponent shoots at 50%, more times than not, it's not going to be a good game at all. LSU got really manhandled at times on the defensive backboard. Florida got some pretty 13 offensive rebounds for Florida today. That's going to get you beat, and always seems to be LSU's bugaboo. Always seems to be LSU's problem. So as the season goes on, we will continue to monitor this and look, it's an early season. Telltale signs of a very young team, a very, very, very young team. So the telltale signs there, but you would like to see him progress, but you got to stay focused. You absolutely have to stay focused. Okay, let's get to a couple of these. Matt Gridry says, do you think losing Tristan Lee was a big blow? Absolutely, anytime, but you never really had him, though. You know, Matt, like you never had him. So to say you lost Tristan Lee, can you lose something you never have? So like if this iPad right here is not mine and I'm in line for it and I don't get it, is it ever really mine? There was somebody who on Twitter who said that, and I forget who it was, that they had good sourcing. That was 85% chance that Tristan Lee was coming to LSU. Everybody, and most of you know that when I talk recruiting, I'm not going to talk recruiting unless I've been given something. But everyone around LSU has told me that they never felt that confident. Never felt that confident about Tristan Lee coming to LSU. They did a little bit early in this recruitment, but as it continued to go on, and what's crazy is that kid signed early. Let me break off here and say this. If a kid signs early, maybe you should let other teams know that you signed with Clemson and stop let LSU recruiting you, because they recruited your ass. You could have given them the decency of telling them that you had signed with Clemson. Not bashing Tristan Lee, but it's kind of like that girl in high school or that girl in college. She kind of flirts with you, leads you on, but she never really goes out with you. She never wants to go out and go dancing with you. She don't want to go to the buzz. You know, she don't want to pop lock and drop it. She never wants to do that. I don't like that. That's the reason why I don't get in recruiting. Now, I talk about recruiting, absolutely. But in reference to, hey, I fully believe Tristan Lee is coming to LSU, I'll never get into it because that's what happens. That's what happens. And hopefully for people who are saying that, I hope they live and learn. Carl Dunn says, Happy New Year. What's up, Carl? Happy New Year, brother. Brian says Day's had his worst game. Yeah, Darius Day's had his absolute worst game. It's not even close. Not even close. James said way too many turnovers. I agree. And turnovers for this basketball team at very timely positions. Right there, I think right before the half, Florida hit that three, and you're up by 3, and you turn the ball over. You're getting careless. Like that was a big time problem. Bam, 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 says Stephen Miller. It's Miller time. Jeremy says, ask Blake, is it not having a true big man hurting LSU? It sure seems that way, Jeremy. It sure feels that way. You know, every time that LSU, especially when Florida gets 13 offensive rebounds, and they shot 5 of 21 from 3. I would love to know how many of those 3-point shots turned into offensive rebounds for Florida today. But Florida has always, and it seems like it continuously will be, Ed Orgeron, Will Wade's bugaboo. He does not beat Florida ever. It's always a close game and always goes to overtime, but damn, man. Damn. LSU did do better. They got 8 steals tonight. Ryan Mayer says, what's up, Blake? What's up, Ryan? What's happening? And Carl's right here. Carl says on YouTube, it's a tough place to play, a very, very tough place to play. Danny says, ask Blake. Blake, what did you think about the games last night? Bama is who we thought they were. What about Ohio State? Great question, Danny. Here's what I thought. I'm going to talk about this more Monday. I'm going to get obliterated. And I know that Mr. Tommy Chrysan, who's come on our show, love what he does. We've gone back and forth on this one, but I'm just going to preface this for Monday. Don't anybody come up in here and tell me that Notre Dame didn't belong in front of Texas A&M. Notre Dame held Alabama to 31 points, which is their lowest total. Don't tell me that they're playing around with teams, right? Don't tell me that that's happening because they didn't play around with teams in the SEC. Why are they playing around now in the playoff? No. Notre Dame's good defensively. Clark Lee is a damn good defensive coordinator. They're really good up front. They got really good linebackers and safeties. Alabama in the first half was trying to bust that game wide open when it was 21-7, and they couldn't do it. Like, they legitimately couldn't do it in the first half. So I don't want to hear that argument. In reference to Ohio State, hey, Dabo, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth, Dabo. Because all you did all week, Ohio State should be 11th because they only played 6 games. Well, they went there and they beat your butt, right? Like, it would be one thing if Ohio State would have just won. They didn't just win. They demolished Clemson. And Trevor Lawrence absolutely hates the Superdome. But I'm going to be talking about that a lot this week, Danny. Andres says, as Blake, thoughts on the coaching changes today, Herman, Sark, etc. How does this affect our coaching search now that Bama is looking for an OC and Sark might want new coordinators? Well, not just Sark, man. Not just Steve Sarkisian, but this affects Alabama. What does Alabama do for their offensive coordinator? If you're LSU, you better hire now. And when I mean now, I'm talking about relatively within the next 3 days. And the thing also, too, is I'm pretty damn sure, like almost really, really damn sure that Texas didn't just call Steve Sarkisian. This didn't just happen. You can't convince me of that. You led 19 recruits in Texas. You led them down the aisle, and then you got married, and then you got divorced with Tom Herman. What they did to those recruits is absolutely abysmal. Abysmal. And then you said, oh, well, we're not moving on from Tom. Their athletic director lied his ass off. He said, we're not firing Tom Herman. And all of a sudden, you're firing for Steve Sarkisian. I think it's a right move. I mean, I'm not saying that, but you wait until after National Signing Day to do it. I mean, that's abysmal, man. Absolutely abysmal. If I'm one of those recruits, I'm ticked off. I'm absolutely ticked off. Justin asks, do you think Jordan Toles will start at safety? He has a good shot. Ryan says, hot and drop. Yep, pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Y'all remember that stuff at middle school, man. Don't act like y'all don't. Pop, lock, and drop it. James says, ask Blake, no more pop, lock, and drop it. You mean to tell me that, I'm just telling you what the girl did. The girl did. She led you on. She was texting you. You know what she was doing? This is what Tristan Lee was doing. She was texting you at 5:30 saying, good morning, sweetheart. Good morning, baby. How are you? So excited to see you this morning. And then when she gets around people, she doesn't talk to you. You know that girl. Don't y'all act like y'all don't know who that girl is. And then when you go to the school dance, when you was in high school, you're trying to, go up into her and dance with her, and she's pop locking and dropping it, and she won't let you dance with her. But she always sends you that text in the morning. Good morning, baby. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you today? You know exactly that's what she's doing. I hate that. I absolutely hate that that Tristan Lee did that. I hate it, man. That's just nuts. Holden Lee says, once again, NCAA letting these college kids take over and doing whatever they want. Yeah, Eric Gilbert. Look, let me tell you this. I'm going to wait and see what happens with Eric Gilbert. I'm not just bypassing that. But if Eric Gilbert picks his college today, I'm going to lose it. Kirby Smart, get your ass ready. Because, look, you can pay for boosts and you can pay all this stuff to, get views. And we will target Athens if he goes to Georgia. It will be an open market from AYS to Kirby Smart if Eric Gilbert goes to Georgia. I promise you that. I will lose it. Tampering. Not saying it doesn't go on. Not saying LSU hasn't done it. But, man, this is the way that this is going down is shady. Like, I would get, and let me completely make this clear. I am all for player empowerment. That's my take. I know what other people's takes are. I get it. I don't want to go down that avenue. Like, I really don't. I seriously don't. Because it's of my belief that if a player doesn't want to be at LSU and wants to go somewhere else, hey, man, I think that he should have that ability to go. You don't want to be here, go. Because we don't let anybody else do that. If I was at Southeastern and wanted to transfer to LSU, I could do that. But let me make this also very clear. If we find out that he tampered with Eric Gilbert and they don't do anything, okay. Get ready. I will use everything in my power to bring that man down. Yes, if you're asking or if you're thinking, yes, I'm pretty ticked off. Because why would you do that? Why would you take? Yes, is he a great kid? Sure. But why? Oh, that's right. Because the NCAA said that they would let you 1 free year of transfer and you don't have to sit out. Lone Wolf Runner on Periscope says, ask Blake, how does O-line look giving returnees and commits? Yeah, listen, that's a big point that we haven't mentioned just yet either. You've had a couple of guys come back. Neil Farrell said he was coming back. Liam Shanahan said he was coming back. And now Chasen Hines said he was coming back. You get in Ed Ingram and or Alton Deculus. Hell, you get to both of those guys, then you start rolling. Andre Anthony's another guy. What if he returns? It could be. It could get really good. Really good. Jamar says, ask Blake, you believe Cole Taylor will be a reliable tight end since we lost Eric Gilbert? Because I think he can be in Jason Witten type. Yeah, he's a good tight end. He caught some big-time catches against Florida and against Ole Miss. Remember the one against Ole Miss? He had to go up the ladder, got hit in his ribs, held on to the football, and all you went for a touchdown score. Huge. Yeah, I think he's a really talented tight end. Blaine says, coaching carousel gets going and LSU could be in the bidding war. Yeah, and they don't want to be. But I would assume that Steve Sarkisian, who wasn't in Baton Rouge a couple of weeks ago, or what was that, last week? Maybe he stopped by to get canes on his way to Austin. Maybe he's just stopping by. Maybe he got off at Segan, got him some canes. Does Segan have a canes? I don't know. Got off at Segan, got some canes. Okay, man, I love me some canes. Why do I feel like Steve Sarkisian sounds like Bill Clinton? I love me some Raisin Canes. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Steve Sarkisian reminds me of a guy who would sound like Bill Clinton. I need me some Raisin Canes. Lee said word is Gilbert to Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt, get ready. Y'all think it doesn't matter who it was. I'll tell you who the 3 teams it was that was tampering with Eric Gilbert. You ready? Tennessee, Georgia, and Oregon. Let that kid, I'm using Kirby Smart in Georgia as a open tool. Let him go to one of those 3 schools. And then LSU pushed out some things about Eric Gilbert that were false. That's even worse. When you're lying about a kid's situation, especially when it was that serious. You know what it was. I don't have to come on here and tell you what they were saying what was wrong with Eric Gilbert. You lied. No, Eric Gilbert didn't want to play for you anymore. And because you wanted him back, you didn't say anything. Lee says it sucks, but yes, he will, and we have Jack Besh, the 3-star wide receiver / tight end. God, how that kid's a 3-star, I have no idea. Brent says, just tuned in. You pissed about Tristan Lee. You think LSU back to 9 and 10 wins next season. Number one, I'm not upset that he didn't come to LSU. I'm never upset when a kid does or doesn't come, I should say. I'm excited when they do come. I'm never upset when a kid doesn't come to LSU. I mean, that's their choice, right? Like, there's nothing I can do about getting mad about it. What gets me going a little bit is that he came out today and said he signed with Clemson in early signing day. That's what makes me upset. And then you led these other teams on. Again, that's where Pop Lock and Drop It came from. Harold says, did Sark get his canes on his way to Austin? He sure did. He sure did. Let's see. Soul Touche R on Periscope says, as Blake, just have a feeling Sark is going to get Freeman. So let's get into some of this LSU coaching search stuff. Everybody just joining us, we greatly appreciate. Do us a favor by hitting the like and share on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube, as we'll be doing the giveaway soon. Also, don't forget to follow us on AYS Sports on Twitter. I still fully believe Marcus Freeman's in it. Negotiations are underway. The performance that him and his defense put on Georgia, was it yesterday, was very impressive. Graham Harrell's name is still emerging. DJ Mangus's name is still emerging. Haven't heard of Joe Moorhead in a little bit, but they're playing a game currently, or it's just over with. And if I told you guys last week about Joe Moorhead, I did not want Joe Moorhead. Go look at that offense. Iowa State is beating down Oregon, beating them down. And you're wondering, look, they got talent. The talent's not the problem, but they're getting beat down. And it's really, at least I watched the first half, but it's really looked bad in the sense of just watching their offensive philosophy. I was like, man, what in the hell is he doing? I mean, 3rd and 1, and you're trying to run a quick slant when they got 5 guys in the box. You have 5 guys in the box on 3rd and 1. You better not throw that thing. Go get the first down, bro. Like, go get it. That never makes sense to me whatsoever. And look, if you run it, you can't get the football, then fine. But never just give up big ground like that. Sean says Marcus Freeman to LSU. It looks like he's still in there. Definitely looks like he's still in there. Barry Odom's still in there. Jim Leonard. Something that we've kind of learned over the last couple of days is that Wisconsin defensive coordinator Jim Leonard's name has been thrown in the mix. But look, a lot of people on this show has asked me about Jim Leonard, and for the life of me, I can't see it. Now, look, we all know this because we all live life, but money talks and BS walks. Okay, so you never know what a man's going to do if you fork out $1.5 million, $2 million for him. You never know what he's going to do. But a guy that played that long in the NFL and got a couple of contracts, does money really entice him? Is money really going to be a factor here? And that, well, Blake, money's always a factor. You're right, it's always a factor. But $1 million when he's getting paid, what, 1.3, 1.4, does it really affect him to stay at his alma mater? I don't know that. We'll definitely find out. But I certainly know this. LSU's not the first person that's come after Jim Leonard, and he's continuously turned them down. So why would LSU be something special? You think that Alabama, Texas, all these other schools who've had openings, when it was Pete Golding or Jim Leonard that Nick Saban allegedly was after. He ain't going to turn – look, if he's going to turn down Nick Saban, he's going to turn down LSU now. But, again, that's not to say that circumstances haven't changed, and that's not to say that things that – look, he might just love Louisiana. He might want to come down to Louisiana. I don't know that. Holden Lee says, what's these rumors you're hearing? A lot of the same, but it looks like Graham Harrell's name has kind of come into the mix a little bit. DJ Mangus, Barry Odom. But every time, listen, this situation is always so fluid. And one thing I got to give LSU currently, there's 2 things. Number one, for whatever reason, this is what I think is going on. Number one, I think that football operations room is split. I think you have, follow me here, you have one power B on one side and one power B on the other. Okay, and look, one side's giving you information, the other side's giving you or I'm not going to say false information, but other information. So for someone like me, if the right hand's giving me information that the left won't validate, then what the hell's going on here? So you got to be careful. That's why you ain't seeing a lot of people coming on the show and talking about it, because they're scared to tell you, hey, guess what, guys? It's fluid. But here's all your rumors. I still like Barry Odom and I like Marcus Freeman. You get one of those two guys, I think it's a home run. You get Graham Harrell, I think it's good. Yeah, we got Sean's. Blake says, ask Blake, do you see Pruitt surviving the investigation at Tennessee? Man, I really don't think so. But, God, my back's itching. Philip Fulmer, who's the new AD, he really likes him, some Jeremy Pruitt. He really likes him some. Harry says, ask Blake, beard looking like a scraggly ball. Sorry, we had an interruption here. Say hey, Ben. Hey. Hey. We're live on TV. And you're just saying hey. Hey. All right. Go see mommy. Go see mommy. Bye. Bye. My beard's looking scraggly, ball? Yeah, it might be. Might be. Ryan Mayer says, ask Blake, can you see Sermon and those two tight ends having big impact against Alabama? Yeah, certainly could. Look, Alabama's not been prone to stopping people, right? Like they haven't been great at stopping individuals. So yeah, I think and I think that Ohio State's offensive line, look, Ohio State's really physical up front. Very, very physical up front. Joe Moorhead. Harold says Joe Moorhead, Oregon is still playing and it doesn't look good on offense at all. No, it does not. Like, it looks bad. I mean, and I watched the first half and I was like, man, what are you calling that for? Like, why? Blaine says, seems like rumors, but no truth. Yeah, there are a lot of rumors, but I think there is some validity to it. I think there's some validity that they talked to DJ Mangus. I think there's a lot of validity that they talked to Graham Harrell. I know that there's a lot of validity that they've talked to Barry Odom, and I know that there's a lot of validity that they've talked to Marcus Freeman. Now I fully believe, because both sides are saying, that I fully believe that they're going to go talk to Jim Leonhard. And if they talk to Jim Leonhard today, I think they're going to sit down and they're going to make decisions, and negotiations are on their way. But you better make sure you go get your guy. You better make sure. And one thing that it seems like we know for certain is Russ Callaway's getting a promotion. And I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. MRCC Wood says, ask Blake, what's taking so long? LSU had to jump. Now these other schools are looking, shaking my head. I don't know. Ed Orgeron loves to take a sweet time. And look, he's had a lot of these guys in bowl games. And if you want Marcus Freeman, MRCC Wood on Periscope, if you want him, and he says, I will not talk to you, and after the bowl game, what are you supposed to do? Just say, hey, man, we're LSU. You're supposed to go in there raw, just rawing it? I mean, no, you ain't going to do that, because if you do that, then you're definitely going to be out with him. But I think that here's what I am confident in. I'm confident that they're interviewing the top guys for these positions. I like that. And negotiations are underway. So I like that a lot. Josh says, so LSU should LSU look to talk to Kevin Sumlin as OC? Man, I don't think so, because his offense has really struggled the last two times we've seen him coach. Like, really struggled. Very, very, very much struggled. Lone Wolf says, ask Blake, is Gay a returnee you're most excited about? Probably. Allie Gay returning probably is my favorite. Ed Ingram would be another. Andre Anthony would be another. But Allie Gay returning is a big deal. And look, let me tell you this, because I see there's a lot of people watching right now, and I know that there will be more that's going to watch and listen to the podcast. I got absolutely obliterated on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, for reporting news that guys said that they were coming back. Obliterated. by some people. And let me tell you this, because I see that you've been watching a little bit here. I'm not going to stoop to your level. You're below me. Just joking. Nobody's below me. But since you brought up the term, anyway, this is a good question from Chap Happy 28. Ask Blake, any news on Cox coming back? No news. No news. But man, it's hard for me, Chap Happy 28 on Periscope, to think that he would come back. Like it's really hard for me to see him to come back because look, he's a first or second round pick. Why would he come back? And look, he's paid his dues. He's what, a first or second round pick? Why would he do it? Blaine Smith says, is Deculus coming back? I don't know that either, but I would really hope so. I really hope so. It would be big. But he's another guy who's getting up there long in the tooth when it comes to college football. But if you get, I hope that they for certain get Dare Rosenthal back, and they got a couple of others. You get Ed Ingram back, it's a big win. It's a very big win. Jamie says, who does Joe Moorhead coach? He coaches at Oregon. Jeremy Marshall on Facebook says, ask Blake, so we've been discussing DCs. What about OC? What's the chances Coach O and Brady been chatting? Good question. They have been chatting, but not for the chatting that you want them to be chatting for. I know that you're asking the question. They've been chatting, and Joe Brady says, look, I'm not coming back, and that's why Joe Moorhead's name has come to the forefront. It's the number one reason. And if Joe Moorhead does get hired at LSU, you're going to hear Ed Orgeron walk out on the podium and say, I called Joe Brady. Joe Brady told me that I should go hire Joe Moorhead. Go Tigers. That's exactly how it's going to go. But in reference to chatting, to coming back to LSU, look, he's a great play caller, yes, but he left because he didn't want to recruit. You don't recruit. Either recruit or die. Simple as that. It doesn't matter how great of a play caller you are, because if you don't recruit, you won't be nothing. He doesn't like it. Now, look, you saw what happened with Tristan Lee today. Hey, I actually signed on National Signing Day, the early National Signing Day with Clemson. I'm just announcing now. Why would he like that? So you mean to tell me that I've been talking to you for, 22 days, 23 days now? The same amount of time Eric Gilbert opted out. That's how long I've been talking to you every single day for you to come to my school, if not longer, if not for years. And now, even though you're signed to another school, how bad of a situation does that put James Craig in? You want to know? You want to talk about James Craig? James Craig's been on the phone with this kid for a long time, and he's been deceiving him. No money was going to change this kid's mind. Just letting you know that. Even though, never mind. Leave that one alone. Leave that one alone, Blake. But that kind of stuff gets me riled up, man. Like, we coddle some of these kids sometimes. And look, again, like I've said earlier in the show, I am for player empowerment. But sometimes player empowerment goes a little too far out there. Like, it goes overboard, right? Like, over the left field fence and through the pine trees. James says, ask Blake, I keep hearing people saying Brooks is coming back. Yeah, look, James, I'm going to be honest, and someone might have better sourcing of this than I do, but everyone has asked me about Marcel Brooks coming back. Here's my thoughts on it. Again, no sourcing going on here whatsoever. Number one, in reference to Marcel Brooks, but number one, I just cannot see LSU using a spot on Marcel Brooks. I know people say, well, he took a spot last time. He wouldn't take another one if he came back. Yes, he would. That's number one. Number two, why wouldn't you keep Marcel Brooks? There was a lot of rumors that you asked him to leave because, look, him and Eli Ricks kind of got in a little bit of a trouble. Like, he was sometimes a little bit of a wild child. And look, I don't know if why would he come? Look, he had family issues. He needed to go home. Completely respect that. 100% respect that. But if he needed to go home, then you need to stay there. Stuff didn't get better in 4 months. That was critically so bad that you absolutely had to go. Eric Wright, I wish a lot of these LSU fan bases would hit the I see what you're saying. I wish a lot of these LSU fans would hit the transfer portal. Very toxic people who mix politics into football. Yeah, but look, fans are fans. I mean, sometimes I wish that we could, like somebody that watches the show just spend a day in the life of us. And I'm not even the biggest guy out there doing this stuff, right? Like, I'm not even close to the biggest. But I know if my DMs are getting hit up hourly, I can only imagine what these players, what these other guys, coaches, if they have it, what their DM box looks like. Ryan says, ask Blake Vox should not come back. He has chance to start on NFL team. Maybe you're meaning Cox. Defenses are moving to base nickel. Yeah, I don't think he'll come back. Brent Landry says, who will be starting for quarterback for the Tigers next year? It's an open competition, but if you've been seeing some stuff that TJ Finley's camp has been putting out, it looks like he's not going to be at LSU much longer. I hate that. But hey, man, you don't want to come back? Okay, I understand it. But dang, that sucks. Oh, well. And look, I know that there was a report that Ed Orgeron said Steve Ensminger wanted to start Max, and Ed Orgeron overruled that. That's not true. Everybody that's been following AYS, listen to me. I promised my bottom dollar. That didn't happen. Kirk Paul says, Blake Ball, you know how this recruiting dog and pony show goes. Yeah, I do. But again, Kirk, just act like a normal human being. Hey, you signed on early National Signing Day. You would have had your big announcement. Why do you want your big announcement now? You know why he wanted his announcement to happen then. I mean, we all know why he did what he did. But come on. You signed. That kid could get some teams in trouble. In trouble for what? Because they didn't know? James says, ask Blake, a lot of LSU Q fans are keeping recruits away from LSU. Man, but James, the only thing that I'm going to push back there is that happens everywhere. Go try to be recruited by Alabama. Look, we're right here, ham and aim eat. And a lot of those kids, Devontae Smith might win a Heisman. You should have seen this kid's Twitter. You should have seen this kid's DMs. When he started, he didn't even entertain LSU, really. He went to a football camp with Devonta Lee. That's all he did is he went to a 7-on-7 camp with Devonta Lee and the Amy Warriors, and you should have seen his DMs. It happens everywhere, James. I get what you're saying, but it happens everywhere. Chap Happy says, what's going on with TJ's mom throwing shade at LSU on Twitter? I don't know. Not sure. I mean, something had to have happened, I guess. I mean, I don't know that. I have no idea. But looks like he might transfer, and more power to him if he does. Jacob Cole, what's up, Jacob? He says, seeing some people say Craig needs to go. Not sure how I feel about that. Why would he need to go? Why? You have no in-state – look, then you need to blame the head coach, the recruiting coordinator along with it because you didn't go get offensive linemen. This can't be solely on him. What's the kid's name? Chemo, the kid that was committed to Florida State, just committed. Eric Wilson, the Harvard grad transfer that everyone wants. Alabama wants. Florida wants. Everybody wants. It looks like he's leading towards LSU because of Liam Shanahan. The Moco kid, who's a tackle out in Utah. And now you got Will Campbell, and I forget the kid at Catholic, whatever that kid's name. You have a lot of built-up relationships with James Craig. And by the way, last year, he was the best offensive line coach in the country. That's not me saying that. The Joe Moore Award went to LSU's offensive line. He was considered the best offensive line coach in the country. Man, no, I ain't going to go that far. Lee says, speaking of Devontae Lee, what's going on with him? Switched positions multiple times. He hadn't got to the field. That's a humble kid. It's a humble kid. Hope he sees the field. Really want that kid to see the field. Adam Burrows says, I've been said that. What you been saying, Adam? What you been saying? Jacob says, agree 100%, Blake. Craig picked up Dellinger as well. Thanks. Yeah, he got to – look, he's got some big-time kids. Oh, God, here we go. Okay. I saw this comment from Blaine talking about tiger droppings, and, man, every time I see tiger droppings, my heart kind of drops because, man, that is a cesspool. We have one person who says that he's the official source of tiger droppings. But Blaine Smith says tiger droppings is a horrible sight that makes LSU fans look like a bunch of whiny, bashing fan bases. I hate that sight. Yeah, I do too. I hate what goes on that site. I don't hate the site. I just hate what goes on that site. It's like there's no real moderator. You know, like where's the comment at? There's a comment in here that we had earlier talking about some crazy stuff. Like all you got to do is click delete. It's not that simple. Or it's not that simple. It is that simple. Brent says, does Miles Brennan transfer if Max or Finley starts? Seems that way. And there's some people saying in the Baton Rouge, you know, in the doctorate community, there's some people saying that that Miles Brennan might not play another snap because they have no idea what to do with that injury. And if that's the case, then we have some big-time issues. Or he has some big-time issues. Steve Bean. Steve, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, bud. He says, as Blake, NCAA lets players transfer without sitting out a year. Doesn't SEC have to approve that going from one SEC school to another? So not automatic that Eric Gilbert doesn't have to sit out a year. Steve, that's what we've been talking about for the last week on the show. There's some people at the SEC office who's told me that they feel like that they're going to put it into that. Like if you were transferring from another conference into the SEC, okay, that's fine. We get it. But if you're transferring from inside one school to another school inside the conference, they feel that they're going to stop that, which I fully believe that they've been doing that because look at Eric Gilbert. Look at the tampering, especially with this one-time transfer rule. And if this one-time transfer rule continues to go on, the bigger schools are only going to get bigger, right? Like they're only going to continue to do what they're doing because they're going to be tampering all the time. Why wouldn't you? If a kid's not going to if a kid's going to go there and play the next year, what does it matter? What is early – the truth of all this is, what does early National Signing Day really even mean anymore? What does commitment mean anymore? But of the three for Eric Gilbert, Georgia, Tennessee, and Oregon, let him go to one of those three. Kirk Paul says, great QB play helps out offensive line play. It does. Also, but here's another thing too, Kirk. Let me go back to this. Here's another thing, Kirk. Clyde Edwards-Helaire through 10 games of the season last year was running the ball for 7 yards per carry. That's not great QB play. That's dominant offensive line play. I get what you're saying, but that offensive line was dominant under James Craig last year. Three guys are starting in the NFL right now from LSU's offensive line last year? I mean, they were dominant. Very, 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 very dominant. Cedric says, hello, all or y'all. What's going on, Cedric? Carrie says, I'm just getting on any chance we get Herman as OC. Carrie, you're actually the first person who asked that, so it is a good question. Based on the fact that Orgeron and Ed were kind of the number one and number two guys for the LSU position in 2016, if Ed Orgeron does that, more power to him, but, man, he would have to eat a lot of – two things would have to happen. Number one, have to eat a lot of humble pie, and him and Tom Herman would have to get on the same page. And Ed Orgeron beat Tom Herman last year. Well, I guess 2020 is technically last year because we're in the last season. But 2019, he beat him. So it'd take a lot of humble stuff. Here's another thing. Tom Herman literally flipped off a recruit for picking another school outside of Texas, looked in the camera and flipped it off, and you could like see his words or his mouth moving, and it looked like he said bleep you. I don't know if I want Tom Herman on my team or coaching for the university that I love. Tom Herman, you're a punk, dude. He a jerk. So number two, that's number one and number two. But Kerry, I don't think that that's going to happen. I don't think that is going to happen. What he should do is if Urban Meyer goes to Jacksonville, meaning the NFL, he needs to go along with him and learn some pride and humility. Because that's the most he is the most prideful man I think I've ever seen coach a big-time university, maybe outside of Dabo. Look, Saban's prideful, and he's got his problems, but you ain't never going to see Nick Saban flipping off no camera, cursing out a recruit on national live TV. Saban would do some crazy stuff. Turk says Tiger Droppings is a cesspool like Twitter. Man, I love Twitter. I can't get off of Twitter sometimes. That's my wife. She gets buku mad at me. I'm like always on Twitter. I'm scrolling Twitter right now. Make sure I ain't missed nothing. Nope, just got 2 more followers and 7 new messages. That's about it. Blake, you know where Eric Gilbert's going? No, let me call him right quick. Bring, bring. What's up, Eric? What's up, man? It's Blake. What's happening? Not much. Where are you going to school? Kentucky. Oh, man. All right. Robert says, ask Blake, everyone keeps saying losing recruits to the transfer portal and other schools from recruiting, but what about players coming back that could go day 1, 2 in the draft? I think that speaks volumes for Coach O and his plans. But what guys come back outside of Ali Gay? And I'm not so sure, Robert, that Ali Gay would be a day 1, day 2 guy. Like, I'm not so sure about that. I mean, he's an athletic freak. Don't get me wrong. He had a great opening part of the season, but go look at the stats. My man didn't do a lot lately. Like, he struggled in the later part of the season against better teams. He struggled against Florida. He struggled against a first-round talent and Alex Leatherwood for Alabama. So he needs to go get some more guys back. Let me make this very clear. And, Robert, you bring up a good point. Because, again, like I mentioned earlier, I got obliterated last couple of days for reporting this news. Let me tell you this. It's a big freaking deal on the culture of these guys coming back because these guys normally don't come back to LSU. So let me make that very clear. It's a big-time thing, a big-time deal. Very big. So if you want to act like this isn't a culture change or culture shock, it is. Charlie says, coming on late, who you think we end the class with? Man, I have no idea. We might need to get Mike Scarborough on here for him to talk about it because I'm not really sure. Gilbert, really, Blake? I mean, look, he transferred, not me. What's up, Marvin? We hadn't seen you in a while, brother. Hope all is going well. Hope you're having a good new year. Blake says, Villa33 on Periscope says, ask Blake, how do you see the halfback rotation working itself out next season? I think you got to throw Ty Davis-Price out there first. John Emery struggled late. Ty Davis-Price did well. You got a Marnie Goodwin that just came in, Corey Connor. So you got a lot of good backs. Whoever can catch, put them out there. Look, Marty Goodwin's electric. Very electric. Lee says Marvin Mackey took an OC job just recently. Who did? Oh, Major Applewhite. Yeah, Major Applewhite just took a OC job. What was it at? Somewhere in Alabama, I feel like. Some smaller school. But, yeah, he just took an OC job. Blaine Smith says, Tom Herman reminds me of Matt Canada. Huge a-hole. Yeah, I can see that. All right, a couple more. We're going to get on out of here. James Washington says, ask Blake, we could be in for a great season next year. I agree there. And look, we're going to continue to monitor. We're going to continue to pluck. So if you're just watching this, here's what I think for OC as it's going down. I think Graham Harrell's in it. I think DJ Mangus is a name that has been thrown in it. Jeff Grimes. is another thing. I think Russ Callaway is going to get promoted. Marcus Freeman, the DC from Cincinnati, his name is in it for DC. Barry Odom is another name. But those are the two biggest names that seems to continue to come up here of late. Now, look, a lot of people have been saying, too, go get Will Muschamp. Please, baby, sweet baby Jesus, no. Please, no. Marvin says, Blake, what do you think about Glenn Logan and Hines coming back? Did Glenn Logan officially announce that he was coming back? I know I saw he put something about, hey, next season's going to be legit. But I didn't see Glenn Logan. Let's look this up. So everybody watching who is LSU fans, hold up. Yeah, Neil Farrell says, feeling good about next season already. Let's get to work. And Joker says, Glenn Logan on Twitter says, facts. Oh. I don't know if he officially announced it, but getting Glenn Logan back would be huge. Would be very, very, very huge. Okay, I see you, Glenn. He had a rough season, y'all. He had a rough season. I saw him put this earlier, but he never said, like, hey, I'm coming back. So I felt like he could change his mind, you know? Like, I'm not going to come out there and say, oh, hey, Glenn Logan announces he's coming back. But he could have been saying facts, like, hey, facts, you're going to have a good season next year. So that's what I thought about the whole scenario. James says TDP has been consistent. Please give him running back one. I agree with that. Kerry says Gay is coming back. Yeah, he is. Ali Gay is coming back. It's huge. Absolutely huge. I know it's on the coaching search, but those seem to be the biggest. Oh, and Jim Leonard. There it is. Jim Leonard is another guy that seems to like he's going to get an interview too. The DC out of Wisconsin that everybody likes. So we'll see moving forward. Where those guys will go. John Sager says, how long do you think it would take LSU to make a hire? Better get rolling before all the good ones get snagged. They better do it this week. Because what you don't want to do is get in a bidding war with Nick Saban, and what you don't want to do is get in a bidding war with Steve Sarkisian, who's probably talking to a guy, a Texas source, you know, like, look, I go on a lot of these national radio shows, and talking to a guy that covers Texas, he tells me, look, they're about to unload the pocketbook for Steve Sarkisian. They unload the pocketbook for Steve Sarkisian. Okay. They do that. All right. You don't want to get in a bidding war for Texas. This is how you lost Herman. And you don't want to get in a bidding war with Alabama. Because Nick Saban will use that Mercedes-Benz money and start really effing over some stuff. So you want to do it, you better start doing it now. Hey, Marcus Freeman, you coming or not? No, I'm not coming. All right, see you. He don't want to come? Fine. Barry Odom, you coming? Well, we'll see. Get that stuff locked up. Listen to me. I know tomorrow's Sunday. Tomorrow and Monday going to be really interesting. You come out Monday firing off. You got a DC hired or an OC hired. It's going to be interesting. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, but I could see it. I could definitely see it. Justin says, what's up, Blake? What's up, Justin? So that D-line is going to be stout, says Jacob. Yeah, that D-line for LSU is definitely going to be big. It's going to be huge. It's going to be nasty. It's going to be very, very, very nasty. Okay, we're going to get on out of here. Let's go watch some football. Guys, I appreciate it. This was the LSU postgame show. We will have a lot of stuff to talk about Monday, and as the week goes on, hopefully we will have an OC and DC and get some of these position coaches filled out. But until then, stay tuned, subscribe, and like to everything on AYS. It's all right here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And definitely like or go subscribe to us on YouTube, as we're going to be doing a giveaway soon. But until then, guys, we will see you soon. Peace out.